what I'd like to talk about in terms of the Indian brand that I think has done well for itself, that people admire, is actually the idea of India itself. It's India as the brand. And why do I think that? I think so because India has been around for a very, very long time. Nothing better than having such an authentic brand like India with a strong civilization, culture, values. And when you think about the other attributes that have been built up about brand India, it's a very young and yet, great civilization that we've got. It's a democracy which makes things very transparent. People know what's going on. It's pretty hot and happening. Look at the attention from the world that India is getting. It's the people that drive a lot of the change in the policies and in the movements, even the optimism that comes in when things are looking bleak the world over. India is still very optimistic about the future, and I think people are generally very, very optimistic about what the future foretells for India.
I think a lot of Indian brands have done well for themselves, I mean, across categories. But one particular brand and initiative rather, which I'm really proud of is Incredible India as a brand, because, that has really pretty much kind of catapulted India as a destination, India as a brand to the next level. And I'm really happy for the way it's kind of amplified itself, made itself relevant, and made itself really visible across the board globally.
So I think Dabur as a brand across the portfolio, the kind of work that they've done on the brands, the relevance that they have for the Indian consumer that they've built over the years is something that I think is very good. And more recently, if you look at all the e-commerce brands that India has homegrown produced, I think they've done some phenomenal work in a very, very short span of time. So that's not just about advertising or spending media money, but in terms of how relevant that they are to the customer needs. I think Flipkart, when it started cash on delivery and returns with no questions asked, I think that those are the kind of insights that they've really brought on the table, which is something that I enjoy seeing as a marketer.
The Taj hotels, and if you ask why, it's simply that when you take the name Taj, for me it evokes majesty, regality in a way. Oyo rooms, and I think what they've done is it's just a completely new disruptive business model when it comes to the hotel, again hotel. And the third one I was thinking was, although I'm not entirely sure it's Indian, is Truly Madly, which is the, I guess, the dating site. What I like about them is just their quirkiness and the kind of advertising communication that they are currently engaging in.
One brand purely from an experience perspective that stands out exceptionally well is the Oberoi for me. In my job, I unfortunately travel a fair bit around the world and in India and around. And for me, staying at the Oberoi is an experience, and it makes me proud when I go to Mauritius or somewhere else and you see an Oberoi there, and you go to TripAdvisor and you read about the comments. Usually, it's absolutely 5-star comments on that hotel, and very rarely do you find a negative comment on the Oberoi. So for me, it's an Oberoi purely from an experience, and they live the brand more than any other brand which may have positioning statements and advertising and all of that. I don't remember the last ad I saw of an Oberoi, but I do know that brand that it's in my head, and I love it.
One Indian brand that makes me feel proud is our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, because the values which he espouses of truth, of hard work, of community helping each other are core Indian values, but he is presenting them to people and engaging people in a very modern way. So be it the entire, you got 17.5 crore people who have enlisted in the last 6 months or 4 months in his financial inclusion schemes, banking, life insurance for drivers, cooks, maids, unorganized sector. He's done that. You send a SMS and you will be enrolled in life insurance scheme. Now that's the power of actually using technology with a lot of thought behind it.
I believe yoga as a brand, an Indian brand, has really taken off globally. So as a part of my job, we have offices in Japan, China, Taiwan, Korea, Indonesia, also Brazil. Any of these places you go to and walk in the neighborhoods, you would see a yoga outlet wherein people would be practicing some form of yoga, Bikram yoga, power yoga, you have these multiple variants. So I would believe as a generic brand, yoga has really gone from an Indian brand to being a strong global brand.
I think I would call our brand, the IRCTC, the best brand in the country. We deal about 6.5 lakh tickets which we issue through internet, and total tickets of course daily are about 10 lakhs. The balance are purchased through the counters, and we started from almost 29 tickets about 8-10 years back, and today we have crossed the figure of around 6 lakhs per day, which is more than all the airlines in the world, without confusion.